Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Joel.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Matt.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Megan.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Can you believe it's already the middle of October? It's getting a little crazy out here. This year has been going by so fast, I almost remember when we were planting everything in this greenhouse. And as you can see, the girls have been working on cleaning it up and all finished. It looks pretty empty in here. But that's okay because we have to start getting ready for next year already. Can you believe that? We've got to start taking care of inventory and making sure that we have enough pots, that we're gonna have enough soil for next year, and that's a very big job. Now today we did get started on filming a little later than usual, so we're gonna head in and eat lunch. Alrighty, Grammy, what is everyone having for lunch today?
We're having ham and cheese sandwiches and french fries.
Don't tell me these are our potatoes in there, are they?
Indeed they are.
Fluffy. Right now we're loading up our wagon because this afternoon we're gonna be picking some cabbage, and we don't have Joel today because Joel is taking care of some other things. So Dad and Daniel were the only ones that were here at the farm, and Dad was picking peppers and Daniel was getting ground ready to plant wheat. Since our cabbage is to full maturity, we need to start getting it out of the field, and it's the perfect time to do so because we have a lot of orders for cabbage. Today we're gonna be harvesting 5 bins of cabbage, which is quite a bit of cabbage for the average person. You know, as we get closer to winter, things are supposed to be slowing down, and this parking lot has been full of customers all morning. It's been unbelievable. So we are all about set to head back out and start picking cabbage. We only need knives.
You have a knife for him? You have a knife? Okay.
Remember that old blue truck we had? Look at it, running like a champ. It's not 100% repaired, but it's working, and that's all we need on the farm.
I got lots of stuff picked this morning, but I've been only picking by myself. Everybody else is busy.
Can you believe that? Everybody's busy, unbelievable.
We need 4 bins of cabbage for an order, and then we need 1 bin for us. Whoa!
If I drove faster, they'd all fall off. No, we don't want them to fall off. All right, we have made our way out to the cold crops and everything's looking pretty good out here. Now we are just looking for cabbage and we're gonna try and get as much harvested as we can today. Now the stuff we're gonna be picking is a later variety. You can see we've got some really large heads here. Now this stuff was not as affected by slugs as the earlier varieties. We still have to be pretty careful when we're going out through picking. We don't want to take any of that home because this is going to our customers. So we do have to be a little more selective, but that's okay. So we're just gonna pick everything pretty much? Now right here we have a monster head of cabbage. Look at this one. That is a big head of cabbage right there. And right next to it, another large head. This one's heavy. Now when it comes to cabbage, we raise a few different varieties just so that they ripen at different times. We don't want all of our cabbage to be ripe at the same time because then we risk not being able to harvest it all. Now this variety we're picking right now is called Muksuma. Now when it comes to vegetables, we had a pretty good year when we think about our cold crops. The one thing that's helped out our cold crops quite a bit is the amount of rain that we had. Cold crops like rain, and it helps our crops to get a nice size to them. However, there is a time when there is too much rain. Too much rain brings in disease, and it brings in a lot of insects. And last year it wasn't as bad, but unfortunately this year we've dealt with a lot of pest pressure, mainly with slugs in our cabbage. And quite frankly, I don't remember a year where the slugs have been this bad. I've never seen it like this on our farm. And one of the things I've always liked about picking cabbage is how quick you can go through and cut all the cabbage and get the job done fast. So what we have to do that's a little different this year is be more selective while we're picking and go a little bit slower so that we can get a nicer product. So not only did we have a very wet year, when we planted this cabbage, it was nearly 100 degrees every day. And it's not easy for cole crops to grow in that weather, let alone get started. So that probably contributed to some of our cabbage not getting the size on it. We do have nice cabbage here, but all throughout the field there's sections where the cabbage didn't get this size to it. The head stayed smaller. Look at this head of cabbage. Beautiful. Just giving you a little update on the cabbage harvest. We have already got 4 bins full. We are finding some really large heads. Now, depending on what you're doing with the cabbage, some people like the large heads, some people don't. The customer that's getting all this cabbage, they want larger heads. We are working on filling up the last bin now, and there is about 800 pounds of cabbage in each one of those bins. So they get pretty heavy once they start to get full. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick example how we cut our cabbage. Now the way we do this, we put our hand on the head of cabbage, and we take our other hand and push the leaves down. We don't want our fingers anywhere near the stem down here so we don't cut ourselves. So we take this hand, put it on the head of cabbage, plunge our knife down in, and then we twist the knife and twist the head of cabbage, and the head of cabbage pops right off. It is very, very straightforward on how to cut cabbage, but I just wanted to show you guys just in case you've never done it before. Now, when it comes to vegetables, cabbage is like the toughest vegetable out there, in my opinion, when it comes to harvest. You don't have to worry about damaging it too much, but you also don't want to just throw it around and be careless with it, because this is still going to be someone's food. We want to make sure that we take care of what our customers are going to eat. That way it doesn't get bruised, we don't damage the insides, so it stays as fresh as possible for our customers. Now, what was the first vegetable that you started raising?
We raised tomatoes and peppers for Mono Foods.
Yeah, Dad went straight from taking care of a whole bunch of animals and doing grain farming right into raising for a cannery. And from the peak of harvest, they would pick 2 tractor trailer loads of produce every day, 7 days a week. Now, my dad and my mom didn't do it by themselves. As you guys know, we've got a really large family, and we had a lot of family members that would come and help pick produce. So that's how we got started into vegetable farming, picking for a cannery. Now, because those vegetables were under contract, we couldn't sell them to the people in our local area. They would stop and ask, hey, can I get a basket of tomatoes? And like I mentioned, because they were under contract, we weren't allowed to sell them to just anybody. So then my dad got the idea, well, let's raise a few extra tomatoes on the side so that way we can sell them to our customers. And from that point on, we started raising more and more vegetables for the people in our area. And then we went from having a farm stand to a farm market and to an even larger farm market, the one we're operating in today. So if anyone was curious how we got into the business of selling vegetables and having a farm market, there you go. Matthew's taking all that cabbage home. Now the guys who are picking up that order are getting it tomorrow at 8:30. Now it's a pretty large order, and we're happy to get all of that cabbage moved out of the field. We mentioned earlier that Daniel was working up some ground so that we can get ready to plant wheat. He was working on the old potato ground that we had just finished, and he also disked up our pumpkin field. You can see right below this hay strip, all of that dirt right there. Yeah, Daniel just went over top of that because that's also where we're gonna be putting some wheat. Now we do about 25 to 30 acres of wheat every single year, and we use it mostly for the straw. We sell it to some golf courses that are planting grass. We sell it all through the farm market, so it's really easy for us to move that straw. Now that we're home, all we have to do is unload that cabbage. And normally we would put everything into our cooler, but we don't have enough room in our cooler for all this cabbage. Fortunately for us, our customers wanted this cabbage very fresh, and that's why they're picking it up tomorrow morning at 8:30. And since it's gonna be nice and cool tonight, we're actually putting it in our shop. Since Daniel got all that ground worked up for the wheat, he's gonna take the opportunity to get out and plant. I was just checking to make sure his planter was filled up. So all Daniel's got to do is head out with the planter and he can finish off our wheat for the year, which makes us very happy. That's why it was so important for us to get the potatoes out of the ground and get our pumpkins harvested. That way we can get all of our wheat planted. Farming can put a lot of stress on you, especially when it comes to planting certain crops, because you have such a small window to get everything planted. And it's the same thing when it comes to harvest time. You only got that short window, and you better take advantage of it.
I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, I just thought it'd be important to take some time to bother Grammy. What are you working on, Grammy?
Red beets.
She was mentioning that she needs to fill her shelf up, which means that she's been selling a lot of red beets. But not only has she been working on red beets today, you can see we've got 2 large things of apple butter here, and all she has to do with those is jar them.
Oh, baby, that was close. You think Grandpa doesn't know how to figure how much seed he needs to plant all his wheat? Look how close we finished.
Now the seed falls down into these holes, and these little gathering sprockets pull the seed down into these tubes that go right into the soil. I got out here just in time. Dad was making sure that we got the rest of the field planted. We had just a little bit of grain left in there to plant. We actually almost ran out of seed. Now this wheat that we're planting right now, we're putting it on a little thicker. The stuff we planted 2 weeks ago, it's up really, really nice. And it's had a better start than the stuff that we just planted. So just in case, because germination might not be as good, we went over this and planted a little thicker. It's amazing, you can see the transition of the crop. We've got the wheat that was just planted, the wheat that's been planted for over 2 weeks now, and this field I'm in right now was wheat that was planted last year. You can see the clover is really starting to come up in here. Now what's nice about this clover is it's adding a lot of nitrogen into the soil, and we're going to be able to take this crop off in spring for our cows. Unfortunately, new farm ground is pretty difficult to come by in the area we live in. So we're trying to be as efficient with the ground that we do have. So by being smart with what we're planting in our soil, we're always preparing for next year's crop and the following year's crop. Daniel got all finished with planting the wheat and we all came home. And now we just got the animals all finished. The grass is growing really nice out in the pasture right now, which is basically free feed for our animals. So I think they're out there getting as much grass as they want before winter really starts to come in. Where have you been all day?
Showed up late, like really late.
We just got the farm market closed up and we've got everything put away into the cooler. Now we're all set to head up to the house. Look, it's Joel's mom.
I know Joel's mom.
Yeah, she's your sister.
Really?
Ooh, it smells so good in here. Lauren, what are we having for dinner tonight?
Lemon and herb chicken, broccoli and rice.
What are we reading? Oh, this is my favorite book, Pear. Yeah, it's Pear.
Oh, did you look at me? You ready to go? You ready to go? Get you out of jail. Ready to go. Okay. Okay. Which one we taking? This one? Oh, let's see if I can get you. See if I can get you. Oh! We're gonna go swing. What are you thinking? I hear the geese. You hear the geese? What's Daddy doing? Is Daddy filming you again? He thinks you're a movie star.
Alrighty, everybody, we're all sat down and ready for dinner. So that means this is where we're gonna end the video today. We want to thank everyone for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.